You're watching the Fantasy Rankings Report only on FantasyNow Plus. Hello. My name is Topher Kurt, but you can call me Topher. Welcome to the Fantasy Rankings Report show, where every Wednesday we evaluate 8 different experts on their rankings, combine their rankings for composite ranking, and talk about it. When I say we, who do I mean? I mean myself and my co-host, Michael Flores. How are you doing today, Michael?
Doing all right, just patiently waiting for whenever this bear season starts, so I'll let you know.
I will tell you, I have thoroughly enjoyed watching the Bears season.
Wonder why.
Yeah, no big deal. So here I am the wide receiver expert. Michael is the running back expert. And this show is brought to you by FantasyNow Plus and the Fins Talk Sports Network. Please make sure you subscribe to both of those channels. Links are in the description below, along with our Discord. And if you're new to playing Underdog, we have new customers get $50 if you give $5 into it, you get 50 from it using our promo code shown on the screen, FN Plus. Again, FN Plus for those of you that are listening to us audibly. Every week we start off with a ranking question of the day. In this segment, Topher and Michael will ask each other questions about rankings in any way, shape, or form. We can stick to our area of expertise or talk about a different position. So far, we've stuck with our areas of expertise, and I'm going to stick with that again today. The first 2 weeks always has everybody all in a tizzy. Like, oh my gosh, this person's doing great. What do I do with this superstar that's now looking like trash? BTJ. Like, let's get our stuff together. So I want to talk to you about 6 wide receivers from last year. After 2 weeks, where were these 6 wide receivers ranked? Alec Pierce, A.J. Brown, Cortland Sutton, Drake London, Jamar Chase, Rome Odunze. And they're on our document if you want to look at those so you don't have to keep memorizing it.
Sounds good. All right. I don't remember how most of these teams started the year last year, if I'm being honest. With Alec Pierce, if I remember correctly, he was doing better than Pittman. And I don't know. I don't know how well, but I'm going to go in the early 20 range. Let's go, 21, 22 for Alec Pierce. A.J. Brown, he couldn't have been doing worse than he is now. I would say he had to be closer to a top 15. Let's go 13. If I remember correctly, Bo Nix started off pretty strong last year. Cortland Sutton had to be, I don't know, let's go mid-teens. Let's go 17. Drake London, he was doing fairly well, I thought. Because, he finished off very well. Let's go Drake London. Let's just stick right around 20 for him. Jamar Chase, I do remember the Bengals, I believe, starting 0-2. Because I think they were one of the 3 teams maybe that started 0-2 and made the playoffs. So I'm going to go he was non-existent. Let's go something crazy here, like 35. And then Rome, it took a while for them to even acknowledge Rome was around.
Yep.
I feel like that guy probably wasn't even ranked in our top 70. I wouldn't be surprised if that guy was closer to 100 to start the season just because they were not using him right off the bat. All the talk about how him and Caleb were best friends and practicing all together, and before the draft they're always together. And I feel like it took a long time before that relationship even began to flourish. So yeah, with him, I think I'm going to go right around 100-ish.
Okay. Well, you are in for some rude awakenings, my friend. And this is why I'm asking this, because when you hear some of these rankings, you're going to be blown away. You're going to be, this is in no way true. Okay. Our first player that we're going to talk about, Alec Pierce. He was wide receiver 5 last year after 2 weeks. Wide receiver 5. Yes. Okay. So AJ Brown, who, should probably be up there, right? Come on. He was wide receiver 28. So not something that you were really super happy with drafting him this early. Cortland Sutton, 66th.
Oh, man. It was not close.
Behind Mac Hollins and Elijah Moore. Greg Dortch and Michael were both ahead of him. Oh, and wait. So we've talked about how AJ Brown struggled at the beginning of the year last year. Cortland Sutton. Oh, and wait, where is... Oh, I typed in London instead of London. Drake London, 38 last year. Jamar Chase, number 42. And Dunze was number 80.
Okay.
Right now, out of all of those wide receivers, Roma Dunze is the highest point scorer this season. AJ Brown, Cortland Sutton, and Drake London are all struggling at the beginning of this year, as are perennial top 10, top 12 wide receivers drafted, like Nico Collins and BTJ. First 2 weeks can lie to you because Jaden Reed was also wide receiver 3 at that time. Rashid Shaheed was wide receiver 7. Cooper Kupp was 9. Deebo Samuel was 10. Do not put all your trust into the first 2 weeks. Can it tell us stuff? Yes. But don't let it be gospel truth. Jonathan, thank you for listening. We've got a question from him. What up? Who do you guys rank the highest between Pickens, Wandale, and Cortland Sutton? Well, I will tell you, and this is a perfect way for us to segue into our next segment. You're helping us out so much, Jonathan. We are going to show you right now, what do we use when we are ranking our players? We go through and make a composite list based off of all their rankings and put some little Google Sheet calculations into it. If you notice this week, going for 2 is blank because they did not have updated wide receiver rankings yet this week. It was all based off of last week, so there's no reason in adding those. But we're looking at Pickens, Wandale, or Sutton. Okay, Sutton right now is ranked 24 in our rankings. Pickens is 27, and then Wandale is 45. Right now, based off how those 3 are playing, I'm leaning Wandale. Because Wandale was top 10 in targets last year. Russell Wilson is looking a little bit like peak Russell Wilson again. The guy we all thought was dead for the past 5 years.
Solid 450 yards.
Right. Fun fact, the last 3 times a quarterback has thrown 450 yards, they've all lost the game.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So I would say Wandale. I haven't seen enough with Pickens yet, so I don't know. Sutton, I'm going to talk about it later in the show, so stay tuned. Look at this. We're getting some questions this week. Love it. Kyle Siebert Audio, thank you for checking in. What do you do with AJ Brown? Oh, that is a tremendous question. I think that you have to wait on it. That's what my opening question was about, was you have to wait on these guys. Some of them are going to take a little bit of time. There's no way the Eagles are going to continue to not pass the ball the way that they are. They can't. If Saquon gets hurt, their team is screwed if they keep playing this way. And if they keep feeding Saquon this much, he could be injured. He's a stalwart, but so what? Do you start Xavier Worthy this week? Most rankings didn't have Worthy in because they don't know if he's going to play or not. So that's not a Wednesday question, unfortunately. And then one more. Do you think the Bills starters get pulled in the fourth again? I have no idea. I mean, that's a pretty common thing when you're routing a team. Make sure your starters don't get injured. Cosmic, thanks for writing in. Should I do this trade? Full PPR. I give Bucky and Olave for BTJ and Walker. He's already got Gibbs, and his wide receivers are Harrison, Cortland Sutton, and Ricky Pearsall. Charbonnet is on the bench. What would you do, Michael?
I'm a big fan of Bucky. I mean, he looked pretty good last year, and it's going to be a matter of time before he also starts really going off again, I think, this year. Now, Olav scares me because I don't know what the Saints are doing. Honestly, I would let's see if he's I would keep the Bucky Olave trade side. I don't know if he's taking it or if he's trading that away, but that's the side I'm on either way.
I would agree with that. Olave is one of the 5 guys that I'm going to be talking about later in this game. Offered Pollard or ETN. Or the guy was offering Pollard and ETN as well instead of Walker, but I think Walker would be the best. Last week showed, yeah, maybe. The week before showed no. I'd say you keep Bucky right now. I'd say you keep Bucky. You've got a good wide receiver core. You don't need to trade anything away right now. If you want to buy low on BTJ, I get that. Maybe figure out how you can keep Bucky. Because I don't think Walker is going to fill the void as much as you want him to, or ETN or Pollard. Bucky will leave a big hole. And then Kyle says, I traded Pickens for this guy and he's done nothing well. Yep, Pickens is like that. So those of you watching, again, this is what we do all of our rankings based off of. We have it for wide receivers and running backs. We have 2 main points to our show. The first one is one that Michael's supposed to lead. So let's go do that.
Absolutely. So as we start with the main meat of it, it's always steady and safe. Now, this is the part of the show where we each highlight 3 players in our positions of expertise that the consensus pretty much agrees on. Now, getting into week 3 with everything going crazy, there's not a whole lot of agreement and consensus, and it's kind of all over the place on the running back side. I don't know how it looks on wide receivers, but
absolutely.
These 3 guys I went with, and I'm going to go from lower rank to higher rank right now. But my first guy I'm going to go with is Jaylen Warren. Right now, he's listed at RB22, but in his first 2 weeks, he is consistent. You got a 12.9 and a 15.4 points in the first 2 weeks. He started off the first week with a 45% snap count, jumped it up to a 58% in week 2. Now, where he's actually getting more looks is in the passing game. They are enjoying dumping it off to him, and they're going up against a New England team who has allowed the second most passing yards to running backs. Ooh. There's only 2 teams that are allowed over 100 yards to running backs. New England is one, and we'll talk about another one a little bit in Miami.
I like that. He currently has a 10% target share in Pittsburgh. Right now, that puts him at the same as James Conner, Javonte Williams, above Chase Brown, James Cook, Travis Etienne, Ashton Genty. The highest target share is obviously Christian McCaffrey, followed by Devon Achane, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, and Bucky Irving. So we're not surprised up there. But he is only 6% lower in target share than Bucky Irving. Jamie, hey, buddy. Thank you for checking in. Jamie is a weekly listener, and I do a weekly Sunday morning show with him through goingfor2.com, 10:30 to 11:30, which is all just start sit questions. So the questions that you guys were asking earlier, Jonathan, Kyler, Cosmic with a Q, those are great questions. Come ask us Sunday morning because we have more information. We all have more information. My steady and safe wide receiver that I want to talk about first is Davante Adams at wide receiver 13. Now, that might sound a little like, oh, why? He had 5 red zone targets last week. End zone, not red zone. End zone targets last week. Matthew Stafford is going to be looking his way when they are down in the end zone. He only caught 1 of 5 of them. Most of them were not his fault. There was some good defensive play. There was an errant throw, but I am very much a fan of Davante Adams' work personally throughout his career. He also has a 34% target share with Puka Nacua, and his average depth of target is 11.3 yards, which is higher than Puka Nacua's 8.0 yards. And he has the most air yards on the team at 44%, while Puka only has 31. Am I saying Davante over Puka? Absolutely not. But Davante Adams is a sweet spot. Okay. Jamie has a great GUI. I have a GUI for this week. So he's trying to say I have a guest for this week. I'm excited for that. Awesome.
So I'm a little upset. I was a week early on Davante Adams. I picked him as my flex in DFS, and I didn't do terrible, but that kind of hurt me. So seeing him actually perform again is kind of nice.
Yes.
All right, for my second guy, I'm going RB15 guy, Javonte Williams. He has looked so good the first 2 weeks. He's 19.4 and 22 points in week 1 and 2. He's averaging around 75% of the snap shares. And really, if you're trying to get all these points, this guy's already got 3 touchdowns. So he is rushing that ball. And granted, 2 of them were week 1, but I'll take 1 a week. Why not? And he's going up against a depleted Chicago defense next week, which I don't know what's going on there. Defensive tackles are missing, linebackers are missing, cornerbacks are missing. Someone needs to start investigating their
whereabouts.
Their whereabouts, because I don't know what's going on, man.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Absolutely. We need some kind of hint to figure it out for us, and we're not getting it. Excuse me.
You're all good.
Chicago's defense is already given up 148.5 rushing yards per game. Like, they're just you just need to run them. Even if for whatever reason your receivers aren't doing anything, your running back can just go ahead and take over. And I don't anticipate that ending against the Cowboys. I think that it's going to be some kind of shootout, or the score is just going to be just ridiculous, just like it was last week for Detroit. But I think on this week it's going to be both teams, but I'm hoping both teams, but it's going to be a little ridiculous. And I think Javonte Williams is going to have another game.
I'm with you there. I think that is a really good call. My next wide receiver that I think is steady and safe is going to be Jacoby Myers. He is ranked as wide receiver 28 in our rankings this week. However, Jacoby Myers is one of those just cheat codes in fantasy football that we've talked about before, where I misspelled Jacoby in typing his name out. He right now has 22 targets. That is 4th most in the entire league. 4th most. He has 14 receptions, and he has had 68 and 97 yards in both of his games. He's having a yards per catch of 11.3, 12.1. So he's being consistent. He's wide receiver 19 right now. And I don't see why going up against a Washington team that could be without Jaden Daniels, that could be an opportunity for the Raiders to come in and sneak a big win in. They need it. They need it. It's already week 3 and they need it. We were not surprised by that. But Jacoby Myers, steady and safe, one of the safest players in fantasy football.
Nice. My last guy, I'm going with the guy that he's getting older, but he's always getting the job done, and that's Alvin Kamara. Now, he isn't being talked about all that much anymore because the Saints offense does not look good. But he is still consistent. So he got 12.7, 13, and 13 points week 1, week 2, respectively. And because he is that lead back, he's still getting 80% of the snap share. So that guy is out there at this age, still constantly out there. Now, last week, he's coming off just short of 100 yards. He had 99 rush yards against a pretty good San Francisco D. Now, I know they're hurt, but that defense is still pretty good. The only concern I can see with people having with Kamara this upcoming week is he's playing against another good defense. He's going up against Seattle, who I don't believe has given up more than 102 rushing yards in either game yet. And that's going to be a little rough for him, but they're going to have to keep feeding Kamara. There's not really much else going on with that offense.
Yeah. The Seattle Seahawks are the 6th, looks like the 6th actually worst against fantasy running backs right now. So they've actually allowed an average of 105.5 yards receiving yards. Or is that average? I want to say it's average. I could be very wrong on this. Yeah, it's average. They've allowed 105.5 receiving yards to the running back position alone over their first 2 weeks. So, and 11.5 targets, both are which the highest in the NFL by a good margin. So are you really going to get him rushing the ball? No, because they've stopped running backs to 85.5%, 85.5 yards per game rushing. However, receiving, that's Alvin Kamara's game. I like that steady and safe a lot. My last one, I'm sticking with some old fogies too this week. This is our steady and safe. They've been in the league for a while, and they're bringing you that consistency. Bringing back Keenan Allen at my wide receiver 36 here. Keenan Allen might be the wide receiver 1 for the Los Angeles Chargers. He's got a 28% target share. He's got a 40% end zone target share, and he's got on third and fourth downs. It's a 54% target share. Ladd McConkey's at 8%. Justin Herbert trusts this guy more than any of us that have Ladd McConkey ever would want him to. He's also caught touchdowns in both of his games. He's currently wide receiver 11, so don't bank on that every week. Touchdowns are not a sticky stat, but he's had 68 and 61 receiving yards. I am bobbled up today. I can't speak. My apologies. Okay. Going on to our next section. This is the meat of our show. This is the big chunk of it. Experts versus experts. It's a part of the show where we each highlight 5 players in our positions of expertise that the consensus disagrees on. We will talk about one from each tier. For example, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, 3, 4, and 5. And every week I kick this off. I'm going to kick off with a tough one this week. My wide receiver 1 tier goes to Nico Collins. He's currently ranked at wide receiver 7 by our expert rankings. He's got a range of 5. Highest ranking is 5, lowest ranking is 10. Clearly the talent is there. We know that. However, until CJ Stroud steps up his game, Nico Collins is nothing more than a boomer bust play. From weeks 11 through 18 last year, he was wide receiver 28, averaging 12.3 points per game and half-point PPR. That's not why you bought Nico Collins. But almost the last half of last season, I put 11 because he was out for 5 weeks in the middle, I want to say. Week 11 was when he came back. And then they had a bye. And then the rest of the games, they were duds. He did not help win anybody a fantasy championship. CJ Stroud, who came out of his rookie season looking amazing, started the beginning of his second season amazing until we had Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins all go down at one point. Stroud has thrown 250 plus yards twice since week 5 of last season. That's it. One of those games was 257 yards. So it's not anything like, oh, he threw 300 games. No. One was 257. Guess who got hurt week 5 last season? Nico Collins. Ever since Nico Collins' injury, Nico's recovered, but CJ Stroud has not. Nico Collins currently has 6 receptions. That's it. Oladame Zacchaeus, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Kavontae Turpin, it shows really easy names, all have 6 receptions. Sterling Shepard of the Buccaneers, Joshua Palmer of the Buffalo Bills, both have 7. I don't see this changing or improving. The offensive line is not great. They don't have a run game they can rely on. There's not a whole lot there. He's clearly the main target. He's got a 29% target share. But in comparison to that, he only has had 43% of targets at him be catchable. Jaden Higgins, the rookie, has an 8% target share, but every single one of his targets have been catchable. Until Stroud steps it up, Nico Collins is a flex play. Boomer bust flex play. Not what you drafted him for, not what you want, but until they turn it around. This isn't just a 2-week sample. This is a taking from what happened at the end of the season last year, hoping that they take a step forward. They have not.
Yeah, I've had actually today alone, I think I've had 2 people at work ask me what the hell do they do with Nico Collins right now?
Just like AJ Brown. Like, what?
Yeah, and I really didn't know how to answer them. Ever since Stroud tried to big bro Caleb Williams, it's just been downhill for him. So the curse of the Bears lives on for everyone.
Yes.
But my first guy is a new member to the RB1 tier. And he's currently listed at RB9 with a range of 4 to 20. So his range is a little ridiculous right now. And that's James Cook. He's been doing pretty well to start. He's finished week 1 as RB5 and then finished a big week 2 as RB2. Now, he only saw 47% of the snap share, but he still had 21 attempts. And he absolutely went off, had 132 yards. Now, week 1, he did not have a lot of rushing yards, but he had 5 catches for 58 yards. So he's getting it 1 week from either receiving or he's rushing, but he's getting his points. And next, tomorrow night's game, actually, he's going up against Miami, who not only is giving up 139 rushing yards per game, but they've also given up the most receiving yards to running backs.
Ooh.
And in one of my leagues, I believe my Dynasty League, someone just traded for James Cook, and they got a first round for next year. So people are buying really high on him. He's doing well. He's a great fantasy running back. But I'm going to very much assume he's going to have a lot of rushing yards and getting at least a touchdown this week. And if the last 2 weeks are any tell, I'm anticipating some receiving yards along with those rushing yards as well. So I might even be looking at to see what his combined rushing and receiving total yards is going for right now on Underdog.
Yeah, that's a really good one. He was he was somebody that people were told to kind of trade off of, back off from, because he was scoring touchdowns. He's currently the number one running back in half PPR points right now. Like that's crazy to me. He had 3 touchdowns this year, and then he had before that last year 1-1-1. Oh, sorry, 1-1-2-2-0, 1-2-1-0-2-1, 1-0-2-1, 3-0 all of last season. There were 3 zeros in that 3 games.
Good year.
Yeah. Looks like he's on that trajectory this year. I'm somebody that traded away from him. I got Devon Achane in return. So it's not like I went and was like, oh, I'll go take a Kenneth Walker or something and take a shot on them. I did get a viable one. Jamie Pirogue, I have James Cook as a top 5 this week. I bet his anytime TD this week. Absolutely. J Cup 4 from Twitch says 12-man half-point PPR. There's a lot of things here for the sake of the podcast, people. I'm not going to read everything aloud, but he's just asking what our thoughts are on his starting lineup. Let's see. I think right now, looking at your team, buddy, I think you're starting everyone correct. And I can kind of tell you're a Packers fan, and I'm okay with that, because nobody has both the Packers kicker and defense and Matthew Golden. Like, that's just not a coincidence. So I appreciate that out of you. Go Pack, go. Woo! Looking like the best defense in football right now. And I am here for it. Wide receiver 2 tier. Rome Odunze at wide receiver 17. He's got a range of 17. His highest ranking is 13. His lowest is 30. He's only one of 3 wide receivers in the NFL right now with 3 touchdowns. Again, not a sticky stat, so don't run away and be like, oh, he's going to get all these touchdowns. You cannot bank on that, especially with how the Bears are playing. He's averaging 10 targets a game, though. Chase last year had 175 for context. If he continues to average 10 targets a game, he could end up close to that. Malik Neighbors had 170 last year. Those were the only 2 that hit that mark. The rest of them were in the 150s or lower. So that is a very high number. I would not, again, suggest that he's going to continue on with 10 targets per game. But that shows that he is very much taken over the wide receiver 1 spot for the Chicago Bears. He's got a 29% target share and 44% of the team's air yards. He's the only Bears receiver, wide receiver, tight end, or running back with an end zone target this year. He has 100% of the end zone targets, not red zone, end zone targets. The Bears are 0-2. Dallas was just in a shootout with the Giants last week while shutting down the Eagles wide receivers the week before. You would think those things are flipped. Russell Wilson just threw 450 plus yards against the Dallas Cowboys. This might be a game where Caleb Williams goes, okay, I'm putting on my big boy pants. I got this. Let's go. If the Bears are going to be moving the ball, it's through Odunze. It's not going to be through their running game. DeAndre Swift isn't bad, but he's not great. You're not sitting there and going, oh, yes, I'm so glad our team has DeAndre Swift. The next highest target receiver on the team is DJ Moore at 17% and Olamide Zaccheaus at 17%. While Odunze, again, is at 29%. He also has the highest, second highest catchable targets with 83%. The highest is Luther Burden because he has 100% because he's only had a 5% target share. So he literally had 1.1 PPR points. I'm not worried about that. So out of the starting players, Rome Odunze is the guy in fantasy for this offense. And I think you keep playing him. You keep doing that. Wide receiver 17, I think he could end up as a top 12 by the end of the year.
Yeah, Odunze is looking real good right now. and you can finally tell that relationship is starting to flourish between him and Williams, because the throws he's making to him are money. It's the exact opposite with DJ Moore. He is overthrowing him, underthrowing him. It's looking absolutely ridiculous. But to Odunze, the balls are looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So my second guy is a new member also to his tier, and also new starter. That's Jordan Mason. So he's at RB19, but he has currently the biggest range of all the top 72 consensus running backs right now. His range starts at 9, ends at 34. Does not make sense to me. I don't get it, but that's currently his range. And like I said, he's a new starter in Minnesota with Aaron Jones hitting that IR now. And Tara Roberts over at Fantasy Pros says he's a top 10 running back over the next 3 games. If you're going to have Jordan Mason playing for you right now, I'd say it's a solid running back 2 for the next 3 games. And in my opinion, just going off just the eye test from watching the games, he looked better than Jones while they're out there. Now, Carson Wentz will be his next QB with McCarthy out, so it's going to be a little interesting dynamic there. But he's going up against the Cincinnati defense, who just gave up an average of just over 5 yards per rush. And 71 of that went to Etienne, 42 of that went to Tootin. They are going to live through Mason if Wentz can't figure out how to get to Jefferson. Because, yeah, Jefferson is Jefferson, but he's another guy that has not really moved into that potential for where he should be or where you expect him to be, at least for me, considering I drafted him in a couple different leagues and I got okay points, but not enough to win. I'm only a combined 0-14 in my leagues, but whatever. I'm hurting here. But
sounds like you're playing like the Bears.
Oh, yeah. And at least they're putting up more points than I am. I lost to a team in one league that did not put up 80 points. So I'm hurting.
I got a league like that too.
But Jordan Mason is now that go-to guy in the backfield for Minnesota. And granted, we haven't really seen too much out of him the last 2 weeks, but I think it's going to be a nice little fit, and he's someone to watch out for the next 3 games for sure.
Yeah, Jamie asks, what about Cam Akers' role in the Vikings backfield? Because he was cut and signed, and he's like the ex that you just keep getting back together again because you're bored and lonely.
Slightly attractive, but probably not what we need right now.
You know what? That's fair. That's a very, very nice way of putting that. I like it. I have a league where I figured, you know what? I'm going to be very safe, take some big swings. And I ended up getting, through this draft, I ended up getting Drake London, AJ Brown, and Nico Collins as my first 3 picks in this draft. And I was walking away going, I already have this. I already have this in the bag. Like, I don't even need to draft anyone else. I drafted Travion Henderson as my running back 1. I'm like, yes, I'm feeling my oats. George Kittle as my tight end. There we go. It's just, you don't know. You can go in with all the confidence in the world, but you just can't know. Oh, accidentally hit a button. Okay. Next wide receiver tier. Wide receiver 3 is Chris Olave of the New Orleans Saints. I hope that you are still around, Cosmic with a Q, because I'm here to talk to you about your boy, Chris Olave. Range of 7. His highest ranking is 32. His lowest ranking is 39. He has opportunities, and those opportunities will get you points. They might not always be great, amazing amount of points, but he is always going to be the number 1 target for this team. He has third most targets on the season in the entire league with 23. Is he making big things out of it? No, because the Saints offense is not making big things out of it. He's at 54 yards in both of his games. Exactly. However, he's on a team that's going to be playing with a negative game script all the time. Chris Olave is a brilliant player, and we know that. We know those wide receivers from Ohio State are the best. They just know what they're doing. His catchable targets are only at 57%. If you are every other throw you're getting thrown, you can't catch it. That's not cool. That's not good. We're not going to look for that to increase either, because it's Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck. But his teammate Juwan Johnson has an 85% catchable targets. So Juwan Johnson has been breaking out, been kicking butt at the tight end position. Those two are clearly the lead receivers on this team, and they have Alvin Kamara and Rashid Shaheed. This is actually a good receiving core right here, and Chris Olave is at the top of it. However, this week, they play Seattle. Seattle is currently the toughest defense against wide receivers. The toughest. It is bad. They have only allowed each game 5.5 receptions to the wide receiver. They've only allowed 86.5 yards per game to the receiver. So they're really good at shutting down the receivers. That's part of why when we were talking earlier with Alvin Kamara and playing this Seattle Seahawks, they're letting over 100 yards. They've got it on to the running backs each week. They've got to let that out somewhere. They've got to catch the ball somehow, the offenses, and the wide receivers just aren't doing it. So I don't think he's going to be anything special this week, but he's a safe and serviceable flex play. I think pretty much every week. You see what he does against Seattle, and then every other game he's going to play is going to be easier than the Seattle secondary.
Interesting. As you were going through the list of their receivers, I was thinking, like, all right, that is actually a pretty good receiving core.
It is.
That you, as a quarterback with little experience in the NFL, you would think, cool, that's going to look at least pretty decent or make him look better. But yeah, that has not been the case just yet.
I think coaching has something to do with that.
Fair, very fair. All right, so my next 3 tiers, you're going to have to bear with me. It gets really weird. Tier 3, 4, 5 for running backs coming into week 3.
We're here for it.
There is a lot of movement going around with pretty much every tier. And my next guy got a little bit of a peek at what he can potentially do. And that's Cam Scatterbo. So he's listed as RB34, but his range is 32 to 48. Now he finally had an increase in snap count last week. Week 1, they were only let him out there for 12% of the time. This time it was 52%. So really big increase. And that's not just as a rusher. They also had him in a lot of the design passing plays as well out there. And as of right now, it's just worth keeping an eye on. Obviously, don't start him yet, but deeper leagues where, I don't know, dynasty leagues where you have like really big bench, taxi squads, what have you. He's a guy to at least take a look at right now. Now, his next 2 weeks are going up against KC and the Chargers. And I think this is going to be the week where they're going to test him out against KC to see what he's got. If that snap count increase is any indication of what the trust that they're putting in him, I think KC is a good team to do it against right now. Now, they're a great defense, but they are just struggling all around. And I'm interested to see what this rookie can do. A lot of people were talking about him beforehand, but he's going to be someone to just keep an eye on for the next few weeks. And if you have him stashed on your bench dynasty league, that's going to be a guy that once bye weeks come out, maybe start taking a look at to see, because you don't really have anybody out there performing for them. I mean, as running backs go, Tyrone Tracy isn't really doing anything, which I was not expecting. Now Tyrone Tracy, if you get points for return yards, go for it. I have him in a league where we get return yards, and he got me 20 points.
There
I
you
believe
go.
last week, but that's because he had almost 200 return yards or something like that. But otherwise, it's kind of not what I was expecting from him. So they're putting a little bit more trust in Cam and see what he can do.
Yeah, right now Tyrone Tracy has 39 rushing yards on the season off of 15 attempts. That is 2.6 yards per carry. He has 10 receptions for 47 yards. He has more receiving yards than rushing yards right now. I'm with you. Cam Scatterbo could be a fun play. His stats don't look amazing either, though. He's had 13 rushes for 42 yards, 3.2 yards per rush, and then 5 receptions for 26 yards. But I like Scatterbo. I like him. He was incredible at Arizona State, and he's wearing my favorite number 44, so that gives him a boost. Jamie says Scatterboo. Absolutely. Next wide receiver tier for me, wide receiver 4, Quentin Johnston. The name that's on everybody's lips, not Roxy Hart from Chicago. It is Quentin Johnston. He's got a range of 7, 44 to 53. That should be 9. Why does it say 7? Should be 9. Girl math going for the moon right here. He's got top air yards on the team with 33%, which is crazy considering who's all on his team. He's playing with Keenan Allen, who I alluded to earlier. He's playing with Ladd McConkey, one of the greats from last year. Something that Quentin Johnston's getting is he's getting the most targets on play action from the Chargers. So that's something to look out for. I've been noticing that more and more with some of these up and coming guys or guys that are kind of shocking us. They're getting more and more play when it comes to play action. He's got a 22% target share. Ladd McConkey has 23. Keenan Allen has 28. However, Quentin Johnston's ADOT, average depth of target, is 15.2. That's crazy. Out of receivers that have run at least 50 routes, he is ranked number 13 in the league. That's really good. I'm here for it. Don't bank on TDs. We've seen Quentin Johnston do this before. Run, get all these touchdowns, and then drop off the face of the planet. However, he was very boom or bust last year. He only had 2 games above 52 yards last year. Above 52. It's 3 games above 50 yards. He had 1 game with 51 yards. So right now with his average, I think he has, let me pull it up real quick because I thought I had it up. I'm super cool. He right now has a 79-yard game and a 71-yard game. That is, he's had 14 targets, 8 receptions. If you're getting 7 targets a game and you've got one of the league's best ADOTs and you've got 2 other, he's a wide receiver 3 on the team, but he's got 2 other guys that are taking the harder players off of him. So if he can break some things out, I think he's different this year. He's not been in this 70-yard tier before. He's playing differently. The offense is running differently. They're spreading the ball around more equitably. Ladd McConkey hasn't gotten touchdowns. Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston have both gotten 3. Those are going to even out. But their run game isn't doing much. Omari and Hampton isn't playing like a first rounder right now. They're going to keep throwing it to those 3 guys and hoping for the best. I think Quentin Johnston is a great flex play right now.
Awesome. I like it. All right, RB4 tier. I went this week with Trey Benson. He's currently at RB38. Now he's starting to get more action on 2-minute offense and passing plays, but let's be honest, he's extreme boom or bust. Like you're either getting nothing or you're doing pretty decent with him right now. Maybe if you're burying him in a best ball league kind of thing where it's got a lot of, you're going up against a lot of guys, that could work. But right now, I think he's boom or bust. Week 1, he had 69 rushing yards, and that came off of, and all that mostly came off of a 52-yard rush that he just absolutely broke. Week 2 was his reception week. He had 4 receptions for 30 yards. Now he's going up against San Francisco next, who's only given up 27 receiving yards to running backs. And if that's where you're counting on him to get your points, it's going to be a little rough. And they're right around middle of the pack in rushing yards allowed. So with Trey Benson right now, especially, he's very boom or bust. And as long as Connor can stay healthy, he's not going to really be getting all that action. But it's an interesting guy to, again, like I was saying earlier for a couple of the other guys, an interesting guy to just keep an eye on because he can break off and make a good play, go for a lot of yards. But when is it going to happen? It can happen week 1 and maybe not again until week 5. But he is an interesting guy to just have in your back pocket just in case for most probably best ball really, but something to watch out for nonetheless.
Yeah, I think that is something that is Trey Benson is something to look out for. That the receiving play that he had last week was unheard of. Is that is it going to be, is it leading to something, or is it just a flash in the pan, as they say? Wide receiver 5 tier right here is, also want to throw, Jamie says he loves some big TDs. Not I, said this guy. I'm going to go with Troy Franklin of the Denver Broncos right here. He's wide receiver 53 in our rankings, and he did some amazing work last week. He's got a range of 49 to 56. And last week he had 100 total yards, not all rushing, not all receiving, because he had some rushing yards last week as well. So he's a little bit of a gadgety play that they can put together. Because right now, behind Cortland Sutton, we don't know exactly who's going to be playing, who's who, who's what, all of that. We do know, however, though, that he is the highest targeted receiver on the team. He's got 23% targets, while Cortland Sutton has 20% targets. Talking about catchable targets again, Troy Franklin's have been 87% catchable. Cortland Sutton's have been 54%. I think that's because Bo Nix is throwing to Cortland Sutton in harder reads. He's going to him in harder reads. However, Troy Franklin has a 40% target share on play action plays. Troy Franklin is coming up with that. He is getting some incredible things through that. And I think that he's somebody to watch out for as you're looking through maybe your waiver wires, or looking to pick some people up, make me do a low end little trade. He already has half the receiving yards he had from his last season. He's also caught 80% of his targets, the 7th best rate in the NFL amongst wide receivers with at least 10 targets. Their wide receiver rankings ahead of him: Puka, Diggs, Debo, Kupp, Waddle, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's a tweet from Zach Seegers. Thank you, Zach, for letting me steal that information and take that. I think that's good stuff right there.
Yeah, awesome. All right, this last one for me is, I did this one for me because I needed it, and I just feel like I want to see what's going to happen with this guy, and that's Kyle Monangai. He's actually listed as RB55 right now, which is interesting considering I don't know what the Bears running game is doing, and I don't understand it at all, if I'm being honest. So right now, this guy's a stash player, obviously, if very deep leagues, dynasties. Now, he finally got to rush last week. It was absolute blowout. Starters were coming out. He actually had 7 attempts, 28 yards, which is significantly more than Roshan Johnson, who everyone thought was going to be RB2 easily. Roshan did not rush at all in that blowout. Now, Ben Johnson has specifically called out that he wants him to get touches soon. What does that mean? I have no idea. Could mean as early as this week. But what makes it interesting for me is that he was our 7th round pick. And his fellow rookie tight end teammate, Colston Loveland, who was the 10th overall pick, not really being talked about by Ben Johnson, not really being discussed that he wants to get more of him involved. But he's saying, I need to get Manungai involved, calling him out specifically. Now, he's probably at this point only worth stashing in really deep leagues, like I said, dynasty leagues, just to see what Ben Johnson has up his sleeve, because Ben Johnson is supposed to be this genius play caller that's going to have all these trick plays coming out. We'll see it when it finally happens, but if he's calling out specifically, he wants Manungai out there, it's going to be time that we start seeing him against a Cowboys defense. So I'm hoping that maybe a breakout comes right around this week. And Manungai is going to be a guy to at least to look out for.
Yeah, I think so. There's so many options in the offense that scares me, because they did spend their first 2 picks on tight end and wide receiver, and they're not being mentioned. They're not being played much. Like, they're not being talked about. So if Kyle Manungai is being brought up, that coach speak can mean something. And I think from Ben Johnson, especially early in his career, he's going to make coach speak worthwhile, because he wants to get the Bears organization on his side, especially after an 0-2 start, and not making the Chicago Bears offense look like the Detroit Lions offense. And I will tell you, Jamie Pirogue is the biggest Roshan Johnson stan out there as well. Why is my phone just started Siriing at me? So heard the Detroit Lions and started talking. I was like, well, they did this. I don't care, Siri. Just let me live. Okay. Okay. And Jamie's got his own pod to start off in a minute. Good luck with that, Jamie. If I can hop on and listen, I'll do that for a bit. And thank you to everyone who has come out and listened, whether it is via YouTube, whether it is via podcast, whether it is your spouse playing this in the car and you are forced to hear it because they listen to your Khloe Kardashian podcast. I'm not referencing my husband at all right now. Okay, so Michael, do you have anything before we go?
Yeah, just everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining in. Don't forget to join the Discord if you haven't yet. Follow us at our ads. Sign up for Underdog if you haven't yet. Play $5, get yourself 50. Don't forget to use promo code FN+. And also, I believe in the description you'll find the DraftKings DFS that we have.
Yes.
So please join that. We did not get the amount of people we were expecting this past week after filling up week 1. So come and join and try to get us.
It's a little $2 play. We're not scamming you for much. Just a couple bucks. Okay, you can follow myself at Topher K44 on Twitter and on Blue Sky. Michael Flores, you can follow him at MP Flores 90 on both of those places as well. Thank you so much. Good luck this week, and we hope to see you next week. Deuces.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.